On mine, it looks like everything's frozen.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we're streaming here. We are streaming live. So Ole Miss comes up a little bit short against LSU, falling 76-73. Jarkel Joyner went 26-2. Romello White 18-12. All in all, big game. We would have gotten a little bit more from Devontae Shuler. He just couldn't seem to find the range. But it was a tough night for the Rebs. But we're here to talk about what all this means. And so I ask you, Trevor, what does this mean?
It means that instead of Ole Miss being an at-large team, or they're pretty much in a wait-and-see kind of mindset right now. You know, you have to prepare like you're going to be an NCAA tournament team. You have to prepare like you could be an NIT tournament team. It's a wait and see what the selection committee thinks about what your overall resume is, and I'm sure they're going to be watching and seeing what happens after that Colorado State Utah State game tonight, and see if they or they're gonna be lingering around the line. That's pretty much just the way it's gonna be. It's gonna be tense. It's gonna be a fun selection show. That's for sure.
Yeah, fun's an interesting word, but
It
one thing that happened absolutely tonight is even though Ole Miss lost, they really didn't hurt themselves. They just didn't take the steps needed to help themselves.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, this is a really good LSU team. There's no way around it. This is a quad one loss. This is a team that's top 30 in the net. This is a team that, has a lot of talent. And I think, this is even just as a regular game without all the stakes, Ole Miss played it really well. They really did. They came in, it was kind of even towards the start. LSU went on their run. Ole Miss adapted. And it was really kind of a fun game to watch. It was back and forth. It was, Jarkel got hot. I think I jumped out of my seat myself. Romello was battling down low. You saw effort from pretty much everybody on the court tonight. You had reason to get mad at the refs a little bit. It was fun. It was fun to watch, minus the outcome.
Yeah, this Ole Miss basketball team, no matter what happens, they were probably one player like a Chris Warren or Marshall Henderson from being an elite team that might have won 18 to 20 games, but that one piece is missing. They don't have a consistent shot maker, and that usually shows up to bite them whenever they play teams like LSU.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you just look on the other side, yeah, Cam Thomas is what, fourth in the NCAA in scoring. Granted, he had Ole Miss did a really good job of slowing him down tonight, but you saw what he kind of does for them offensively. He may take a little bit of weird shots here and there, but he knows how to create space. He knows how to get a look off for himself, and that's something that we kind of struggle with. I think Devontae Shuler tonight, 3 of 13 from the field, really struggled to find himself a shot when he needed it. We also struggled to feed Romello White, and when we did, it was they came out with a double, so it was tough for him to get shots off. He had an efficient 20 points and 13 rebounds, but it was he only had 8 shots. So it's tough when you don't have a guy like that who can really break defenses down and has what I call like a strong shooting gravity. So when he kind of gets ready to shoot or when he drives in, people are going to just go towards him.
Yeah, and if for some reason the selection show doesn't work out, they're projected to lose Romello White and Devontae Shuler, correct? Are those the only two?
Minus the guys who have already entered the transfer
Yeah.
portal.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think to worry about it. I wouldn't, because just let it play itself out. We might have some more. We might not. It's just one of those things. You're going to see it become more common nowadays. A lot of players are going to be on the move.
Yeah, and spots will be open. Do you know how many players with the players that entered the transfer portal and all that scholarships that we'll have available for next year? Do you have any idea about that?
I think we're sitting at like 2 right now. I'm not 100% certain on that. I know whenever Sean Robinson and Kadeem and Demencio left, it did free up at least one. And I think
Okay.
we have one more on top of that. I'm not 100%. I
Okay.
think you're going to look to see Ole Miss go after a big. Obviously, with losing Romello, and Kadeem both, you're looking at only having KJ and Sammy Hunter coming back, who are really kind of impact guys. Maybe Collins, the guy that steps up. He occasionally played some good minutes, especially last year, not this year. But yeah, I think they'll go after a big heart in the market. But I think it's probably still a little too early to talk about the future.
Yeah, and no matter whether they go to the NCAA tournament or not, this is an NCAA tournament team. I saw that with my own eyes tonight. These guys battled. They're tough. There's effort everywhere. And when you look at the bubble, I mean, I find it hard to hear reasons to accept other people, other teams from making the bubble over Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think it might come down to us, granted there are also potential bid stealers out there. I think Oregon State has the potential to be one. Georgetown has the potential to be one, and that's pretty much saying that lower seeded teams will make a run in their conference tournament, and if they win, it causes everything to kind of get pushed down a notch. So that could hurt Ole Miss's case in this instance, but it's things for us to watch out for. And
Yeah.
I agree with your point. I think this is a tournament team. They're really good. They showed it tonight. They can play with some of the best in the nation. I mean, this is an LSU that, yeah, they're a 3 seed in the SEC and maybe didn't have the best season overall, but the talent that they have is close to top tier in the NCAA. I mean, when you look at their top 4 players.
Do you think not necessarily the net, but the projection of bracketologists are punishing Ole Miss because COVID hit them early in the season? They were the last Power 5 team to start, and because of that, they were a little bit behind and a little bit too slow to get going.
It's tough to really think about what all goes into it. I think it's the mishaps that happened in kind of around January. I mean, losing both Georgia games hurt them. Losing to Dayton hurt them. Losing the Wichita State game at home hurt them. Even though Wichita State is number 1 in their conference, it still hurts. Losing the Mississippi State, the second one later in the season, hurts. It's those games where Ole Miss, had the lead, and then they came back and lost it, or whatever the case may have been. Those are the games that I think people are, when the selection committee goes and looks at Ole Miss, are they going to say, is this more of a trend towards the middle of the year or towards the beginning or towards the end? And hopefully they see it as this is a team that grew from that, and that's playing better basketball and in fact, maybe playing its best basketball right now.
And before we get out of here, I do want to say Jarkel Joyner had a heck of a game tonight, and he really has started stepping up over the last few weeks. It's just really impressive to watch him play, and he has a chance to be really special.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on it. Jarkel had himself an absolute game. Some of those shots were incredible, especially with the one on the left side wing, step back, the and one possibility. I think he missed the free throw. Someone needed to step up tonight. And, I think he's, a junior maybe is what they consider him. I don't know with all the COVID rules what he's actually listed as. But, I mean, it's his first year playing. So, there's always that growth that's going to happen throughout the season. So for him to kind of come out there tonight, take on that leadership kind of role and to be the guy, especially out on the perimeter. Obviously Romello, played with a lot of motion. He played with a lot of passion. He played really physical. He played really strong. But you need a guard to do it. And Jarkel stepped up when things were looking tougher for Devontae.
Yeah. And LSU the victor 76-73. This has been your instant reaction. Tune in Sunday for baseball weekend series instant reaction with Jake Evans. I guess if Ole Miss makes the selection show, we might come back and do a basketball thing Sunday night as well. So thank you very much for joining us. And until then, we'll talk to you later. Hotty toddy.